Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and welcome back. And it's been a while now since I've spoken about results. Obviously a few underwhelming draws against Salernitana, Udinese and the Coppa Italia first leg semi-final against Inter Milan, which was quite a bit of a boring game, but one I went to as well. So before we get onto the topic of today's video, if you haven't seen my video from last week, I would love if you could. It was a whole vlogging aspect, showing my experience away at Milan. It's been a while now, so it's been since 2019, since my last game. And I loved the whole experience. Obviously, it was heightened with the whole fact that I've been doing videos now for Sempre Milan and allowed my sort of exposure to more people through the community, meeting new people, and obviously finally putting names to faces over there and really just, enhancing the whole experience. And it just meant the world to me. So if you haven't seen a video yet, I would love if you could. But that's not really sort of concerning this week's video. This week, though, we're going to talk about, obviously, the most recent victory against Napoli. Not so much focusing on the victory itself, but more so things that I kind of noticed inside it, tactical solutions that we could be seeing for the rest of the season, potentially going into next season. But firstly, before we get into that, I want to sort of praise Pioli. I mean, I love praising Stefano Pioli because I think he's just overachieving in every aspect of his game so far since he's been at Milan. I tallied up the amount of points per game he's had against the top six in Italian football, the traditional top six: Napoli, Inter, Atalanta, Lazio, Roma. I think that's everyone. Juventus, sorry. Can't forget about Juventus, can't we? And he averages 2.1 points per game over 10 games so far. So 2.1 points per game out of a maximum of 3. It's incredible, honestly. And the nearest competitors we have within that top 7 teams is just like into like the 1.5s, 1.6s. He's smashing it. He's absolutely smashing it against the top sides. Obviously, there are question marks against the bottom sides. I do personally think that's an issue so much with the players more than the coach. Yeah, he can get a few substitutions wrong. Maybe the methodology of the team as well can be wrong at certain times. But I do think, though, that's down to the players to take the game seriously as much as they take the big games. But we can't question, his tactical choices, his substitutions. Pioli in the big game simply steps up. Now for the topic of today's video, which is tactics. I've done it a few times now on this channel. I've done it a few times where I've spoken about potential tactical solutions. I think it was about a month or so ago I talked about potentially going to a 4-3-3, playing your best midfielders all at once, Kessie, Tonali, Bennacer. And there's been adaptations of it. There's been, trying to throw Kessie as a centre attacking midfielder. We tried it. We did it against Empoli and it turned out to good results. We then tried it against Inter Milan. Didn't quite work out, ended up having to revert back to Brahim Diaz. But Diaz's form is not allowing us to really continue right now with a 4-2-3-1 with any sort of confidence that it's going to sort of lead to the results that we require for the last 10 league games of the season. I love the fact that I was so surprised. When we lined up, I thought Kessie at cam again against Napoli, and then I just saw the way the press was being done, and I saw Bennacer literally leveling out with Kessie in sort of the press, and Tonali's the deeper playmaker. And we'll come to how it all looks on sort of gridded out on paper shortly with sort of with formations and stuff like that. I just loved it. I was so surprised and I was so shocked that it was happening, but I sort of thought, this makes so much sense. Why are we sort of trying to put like a square peg in round holes? This makes so much sense to Kessie and Bennacer to be the pressing players. I personally thought it would be Tonali over Bennacer as a pressing one, the box-to-box option. But obviously I admired the fact that he tried Bennacer and it worked. Bennacer had a smashing game. And yeah, I was just so surprised. And we're going to get into the whole how it looks on paper. But I'll quickly want to bring up as well that a lot of people are saying it's either 4-3-3 or 4-1-4-1. I see reasons for both. When you look at like defensive and attacking phases of the game, I understand how it can be construed as both. It's all adaptations of the same thing, in my opinion. And I actually like it as well because when you look at the top teams in European football right now, your Liverpools, your Man Cities, they adapt the 4-3-3. Man City obviously have done it for multiple years, the 4-1-4-1. Liverpool with a strong 4-3-3. It's all adaptations of the same formation, and I like to think Pioli's kind of looking at their methodologies, the way they press, the way they play as a collective unit, and seeing ways that we can adapt that. And we may not have the quality of those teams, but we can come somewhere close at least, and we can learn from his experiences of playing Liverpool and how they play with the attacking fullbacks. We'll come on to all that in a bit and how it lines out on paper. But when it really comes down to what this formation is, I think you could swing either way. Is it 4-3-3 or is it 4-1-4-1? It's up to you, however you can sort of construe it. So yeah, guys, if you don't believe me, this is the match report from the Napoli versus Milan fixture, clearly showing a 4-3-3 or a 4-1, however you want to construe it. Look, the midfield's there. Tonali's the deepest player. This is us in ball possession. We'd like to keep Macias isolated on the right side to something towards the future. I hope that we sign a top right winger. We can make the most of it in this formation. But like I said, clearly showing the 4-3-3 and how it's working in ball possession there. You know, pretty strong. And if we go towards no ball possession, the defensive phase of the game, we keep it compact. Look at that. The shape there, it's solid. You know, you're not really getting through the middle of it. Tonali, Bennacer, Kessie keeping that shape. Even the wingers cutting back in as well. This is very important. The fullbacks aren't so high as well. Very compact. Offers us, in my opinion, more solidity than the 4-2-3-1, even though the 4-2-3-1 has its advantages. So yeah, guys, here's the same sort of thing, but obviously with player names to help you out with working out who was in each position against the Napoli game. Yeah, like, it can be construed of each formation, in my opinion. Look, Giroud's the spearhead, but he obviously helps out so much when pressing players, coming back and helping that shape in defensively. So do the wingers. You know, the pressing centre midfielders. It gives less emphasis on certain players that they only have the ones that have to do the defensive capabilities. Everyone has to muck in. And obviously when the shape sort of adapts in the attacking perspective, the fullbacks press high, and this is something we've seen many times from Pioli's formations. The centre midfielder drops in with the centre backs, offers that outlet for them, while the other players sort of fill in the gaps. We make the most of players in the wide positions, and that's how we're so effective. Quickly flipping on to obviously how I perceive this formation adapting next season. Look, we all know Kessie's going to be leaving us on a free transfer. We're going to need to deal with that. We need to get a right winger, and that's the most important thing. If it's going to be a Berardi, if it's going to be a Noah Lang, I don't really mind who it is, as long as there's someone that we can do who does really well in isolation, someone who can be a threat, someone that takes away the emphasis on over-relying on Rafael Leao. So I think getting that right winger in the summer is important. Obviously, also signing that replacement for Frank Kessie, not so much a like-for-like replacement. I'd love a Renato Sanchez. I've said this many times before on this channel. He's someone I think in the attacking department can do so much more than Kessie. Yes, Kessie's very strong, but we need someone, and I saw this many times against Napoli, someone who takes those chances and converts them in and around the box. Keeping on the topic for next season, this is why I feel like the 4-3-3 or the 4-1-4-1, it can be and it should be something that we need to keep consistently. Look, I don't think we have the money to go out and sign an attacking midfielder and a right winger, so why not make the most with the plethora of players that can play in these midfield positions? Look, we have Tonali, Bennacer as the deepest players. We have all these options as the box-to-box players here. Even ones you might not like, your Maldinis and your Salamakers and Florenzis and Kruniches, they can put a job in. But there is the first team depth, there is depth off the bench. You know, Yassin Adli, I can't wait for him to come back as well and you know, add his qualities to this side. But I think there's so much to work with here. So I've had my little fiddle and fun with the formations. Obviously, look, I can't sort of construe what Stefano Pioli thinks, but I like to think I've got a good gauge on what he might be thinking, because if it's working, then why change it? And Brahim Diaz isn't working right now, and the 4-3-3 seems to be working, or the 4-1-4-1 seems to be working for now. Look, who knows? Who knows what Stefano Pioli is going to do? I personally think this is the formation going forward, but I do think, though, we will sort of like chop and change in between the two formations, the 4-2-3-1 and the 4-3-3, depending on which game we're playing with, what players we have available, injuries, suspensions, COVID, whatever it might be. I do think the fact that we have this sort of variety of two formations, and it's quite similar, Man City do a similar thing as well. But yeah, if you have these options, it's incredible. So we're going to wrap things up here today, guys. So, but for a bit of fun, actually, I brought along the tops I got printed in Milan. In the away jersey, I got Fikayo Tomori, number 23. Had to rep the one English player I've loved in a long time, obviously with Beckham back then, but Tomori's just, you know, resonated in my heart as an incredible player. And in the back of the third jersey, I got, of course, Sandro Tonali, man. One of the fan favourites this season, and the way that red just goes on the back of that black shirt is just incredible. Look, guys, Ollie's mentioned something in the last podcast video. There's a new movements being made in the background. There's a semplemilan.italia, sort of Italian channel on social media. If you haven't already, please follow them. It would be incredible for us. They're sort of really trying to grow and reach that Italian market out there, and I feel like this is going to do wonders for this channel. And obviously, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. You'd be amazing for us. Like the videos, keep up with the content, add comments in the comment section if you can. If you disagree with us, if you agree with us, it means the world to us, and we like the feedback, we like the debates, and we like the sort of you know, the trying to keep our presence up online. So until next time, guys, we gotta get that win. We need to beat these small sides. It's so important if we're going to achieve anything this season. Empoli on the weekend, get the win. Just get the win. It's all I care about. I don't care if it's a 1-0 tap in with a toe of Giroud in the last minute. Get the victory. Forza Milan.